Tell me, what do you do with witches?
Hello darling, today I'm launching a new monthly series. So as you know, I have 3 other monthly series, short books, get real weird with it, and the new edition, It's the Vibe. And It's the Vibe was derived from my love of Reddit, and in particular my most frequented subreddit in which I post and comment the most. I got one of those badges. It's like, you're the top 1% commenter in this subreddit. And I'm like, oh, I might be spending too much time on Reddit. I don't want to be called out for the amount of time I spend on here. So I ended up doing it. It's the Vibe. It's books that feel like this. It's one of my favorite subreddits too, because everyone there is so lovely. Honestly, I've had some negative experiences on Reddit, especially when I was a moderator as well. So when I found that thread, which was just full of supportive vibes and everyone is just jazzed to be there and to help out and to receive your recommendations, I thought I've got to make a vlog out of this, because also I have found so many great, less heard of books from that thread. So that's how It's the Vibe began. I decided to put a spotlight on that subreddit, and then I thought, Chanel, you could probably make vlogs out of all the subreddits that you lurk on as well, and not just the ones that are centered on books. So now that brings us to the new monthly segment, Reddit Recs, where I expose my Reddit activity by each month selecting one of the threads, subreddits that I browse and frequent. Some of them you will probably be very familiar with, even if you don't visit Reddit, and then some of them I'm hoping you've not heard of before, and I can introduce you to a really cool subreddit. This month's selection is one of my faves, and it's Witches vs Patriarchy. Books that would fit the theme of this subreddit are books that feature feminist fantasy, magical resistance, sacred rage, ancestral grief, sapphic spells, hexing the system, and generally unapologetic power reclamation. So keeping that in mind, I try to find 2 books that would fit that. A book that I have read previously that I think fits the Witches vs Patriarchy subreddit is The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. Think suffragettes and spell books. It's literal witchy rebellion with sisters, spells, and systems to burn. So today we are stirring the cauldron of female rage, steeped in salt, sarcasm, and stories where the patriarchy really should have minded its own business. So we're reading 2 books that prove one timeless truth. When you push women too far, things catch fire. Whether they're being accused of witchcraft after a 17th century storm or imagining modern vengeance with ancient foresight, these stories both scream enough. So the first book that I selected, I think I like the other cover more, but this is the cover I got. It's The Mercies by Kieran Millwood Hargrave. This is sad, cold lesbians plus a witch trial. The Mercies is a haunting, atmospheric tale that was inspired by the real, unfortunately, 1621 witch trials in Vardø, a remote Arctic village in Norway. Basically, a bunch of Norwegian women survive a deadly storm that wipes out the majority of their menfolk. Do they then A, build a resilient, peaceful community, or B, get accused of witchcraft because men are allergic to female competence? Spoiler, it's B. The book is a haunting meditation on grief, power, and why you should never trust a man with religious authority and an agenda. The author reimagines the brutal history through the eyes of 2 women. So we have Maren, a local whose world is shattered when both her fiancé and her brother are killed during this storm, and Ursa, the young wife of a fanatical Scottish commissioner sent to enforce religious and patriarchal control. He's a real piece of work. I almost threw the book across the room at some of his actions and words. The novel explores grief, resilience, and the terrifying speed within which suspicion and fear can turn neighbor against neighbor. As the isolated community grapples with this severe loss, the surviving women forge a fragile independence. Unfortunately, that is shattered when the witch hunters arrive and threaten to destroy them. The prose is very atmospheric. It really brings to life the icy beauty of the landscape and the quiet strength of the characters. There's also a bond that forms between Maren and Ursa, and it's a slow burn sapphic longing, which unfortunately was a bit lukewarm for my tastes. You know, I wanted a bit more from it. It was too mild for me. The book overall is very tender, brutal, and burning with quiet fury, emphasis on the quiet. There was a lot of religious persecution and punishment of not only the women, but of Indigenous people in this. They were genociding them. And the book overall, it was incredibly frustrating for me because the women are slaughtered by the men and betrayed by the other misogynistic women in their village. It was incredibly slow, incredibly depressing, and utterly devoid of hope. I picked this because it said it was feminist, and I'm sorry, but I can't consider any book in which the patriarchy wins to be feminist. The women were trying to stake their independence and their sovereignty and their freedom, and they failed. And I was very angry because that's not what I was anticipating when I picked up this book. It just made for a really miserable reading experience. I think some people would really love this. Unfortunately, I didn't get what I thought I was going to get. You know, I wanted that female empowerment, and these women's fires were doused before they'd even caught flame. And I don't need any more of that in my life. I understand it's probably true to history. It is based on a real historical event, so I understand that. But when it said reimagining and feminist, I thought, okay, we're gonna rewrite history here, but no, I don't think so, not really. However, read this if you like keeping locks of hair, lilacs, and women in pretty yellow dresses. The next book we picked up is Shit Cassandra Saw by Gwen E. Kirby. And this book is giving chaotic feminist oracle energy. It is a genre-defying, hilarious, and gut-punching collection of feminist short stories. This is Cassandra, Prophecy, and it is loud, unapologetic, and finally heard. So the title story, Shit Cassandra Saw That She Didn't Tell the Trojans, because at that point, fuck them anyway, imagines Cassandra, the cursed prophetess of Greek myth. And she is cursed to be ignored despite her prophetic visions. And besides seeing her own eventual death, she's able to glimpse the lives of future women. And from there, the collection explodes into a kaleidoscope of narratives. In one short story, a few normal things that happen a lot, women transform into badass creatures thanks to radioactive cockroaches, and they no longer fear walking home alone at night. Wouldn't that be fantastic? And then we have Jerry's Crab Shack 1-star review, one of my faves, wherein a man, Gary, and his wife have an unpleasant experience at said restaurant, and Gary's Yelp review ends up being more about his unhappy marriage than his unsatisfactory dining experience. The stories are told in a mixed media format, and the writing is bold, witty, and white woman feminist. The author draws on folklore, pop culture, and a keen understanding of the absurdities of gendered experience. The stories have the mixed media formats and also more traditionally structured tales. It's basically what happens when your group chat becomes a short story collection after 3 margaritas and a nervous breakdown. My favourite short story was The First Woman Hanged for Witchcraft in Wales 1594, and that's because I absolutely love the main character Gwen. I'm just going to read you a little bit of it so you can see the style. Nursing is women's work, so it comes as no surprise when they hang me for it. You should have stuck to weaving, Gwen, Mother tells me before they pulled the trap. There are many ways to heal. For a cut, mix lye soap and sugar. Rub it into the wound, bind the wound with cloth, and in a day, check that the remedy has pushed dirt from the flesh. If the edges of the cut become red, if there is pus or fever, grind calendula and lavender and pack the wound again. For boils, prepare a poultice of crushed garlic. For boils on a man who beats his wife, prepare a poultice of crushed garlic and sheep urine. The sheep urine will not make the poultice ineffective, but it will increase both his sensory discomfort and your personal satisfaction. Do not tell the wife what you have done. She does not need the burden. Do not tell Mother either. She already looks at you like you were a dangling thread she thought she had snipped. When Mother's back aches from bending over her loom, she will tell you to be quiet. Sometimes she will hit you. Sometimes she will let you put ground mint against her temples, and if she closes her eyes, she will tell you a story. I am 5 when Mother first tells me the story of the unfunk. The book is basically myth, madness, and feminist fury. The collections overall were good. I did enjoy most of the stories. There was one, however, which featured a lot of cat violence and death. I did not like that one. So please do check the trigger warnings for this short story collection and read it. If you like The Cordless Hitachi Magic Wand, highly recommend. Spitting in Mouths, Taxidermied White Albino Wallabies, and Virgins That Smell Like Summer. Did these two books fit Witches versus Patriarchy? Yes. This one is more reflective of women's experiences in the past. This one is more reflective of women's attitudes towards it now. So I would definitely probably highly more recommend this book over this one. Since these books are both kind of witchy, I wanted to tell you what I believe they would be if they were a witch's brew. So we're going to start with the Mercies. And this witch's brew's name is Silent Storm Elixir. The ingredients are melted snow from a northern fjord, ash from a pyre built from love and grief. I will say the grief representation in this was pretty good. Crushed blackberries for sorrow and sprigs of yarrow for protection. The flavour of this is cold and hauntingly herbal with a brine-kissed bitterness that lingers on the tongue like memory. This is best sipped slowly, wrapped in wool, by the edge of a burning hearth. The effect of this brew is that it will stir ancestral rage and quiet courage. It will grant visions of wind-scoured shores and women in pants standing defiant in the face of history. I will say, yeah, out of all the characters, the one that I liked the most and was rooting for the most and who tried the most was Kirsten. God bless her and her penchant for pants and doing what needed to be done. And then we've got Shit Cassandra Saw, and this would be called Prophet's Punch. The ingredients are lightning infused hibiscus, a dash of tequila stolen from a frat party, red glitter, because why not, basil and blood orange for clarity, and one scream bottled at peak frustration. The flavor is fruity, sharp, and electric, with a fizzy kick that makes you laugh, cry, and possibly throw a chair, best served over ice and rebellion. The effects of this potion include unleashing a wave of cathartic prophecy, uncontrollable truth-telling, irreverent humor, and feminist transformation. I would definitely read more from this author in the future. So whether you like your feminist rebellion, slow and atmospheric, but not particularly successful, or fast and furious with a shot of absurdity, these books will fuel your witchy rage and maybe inspire a hex or two, because witches are done playing nice. So grab your salt, light your candle, because the revolution is already here. Those were the books. Today, I am wearing a perfume, and it is A City on Fire by imaginary authors. This contains cade oil, spikenard, cardamom, clearwood, dark berries, labdanum, and burnt match. I'm not going to tell you my story because this brand writes their own. I will tell you at the end though what my initial experience of it was. A brilliantly dark graphic novel, A City on Fire, is the story of two matchmakers. Rupert literally fabricates matches in a factory on the waterfront, while Francis writes a dating column for the city's newspaper. Both are recluses who haunt the night's shadows, observing clandestine activities from afar, but never partaking. That changes one fortuitous evening when they are both witness to the same high-profile murder and are forced to come together as an unlikely vigilante pair in order to save their own names. This has the vibes of That One Night in the Smoky Basement Bar, The Cool Kids Who Wore All Black in High School, and your favourite graphic novel. It's also giving a night in drinking scotch and watching film noir, wandering a foreign city at night, and playing with fire. For me, this smelled like someone set a petrol station on fire. The scent was ridiculously strong. It was very pungent. I will say that the projection and the sillage on this and the longevity, 10 out of 10. For me, it smells like how I imagine a villain who was just set fire to a village would smell like. The book that I would pair it with is The Library at Mount Char by Scott Hawkins. It's violent, esoteric, apocalyptic. It's literally a library engulfed in flames. This is a powerful scent, and I thought, who would want to wear this? I already found out. So my ex-boyfriend came over, he sniffed it, he's like, yeah. He's like, it smells like how I smell after doing a barbecue. His family's from Argentina, they love to barbecue. And he took it with him. He also had a sniff of Seminalis, if you guys remember that perfume, which is meant to smell like a used rubber. And he liked that also. And then, God bless him, he paired the both together and thought, yeah man, this slaps. So that is what I mean. One person's yuck is another person's yum. This one was just way too intense for me. It's definitely masculine, but yeah, my ex-boyfriend was like, sweet, just found a new scent. So for the rest of the day, I'm just taking my teenager out to go shopping. She hasn't left the house in 2 weeks because of issues with her school, who are being incredibly stubborn and unhelpful and are causing me to tear my hair out. So when she said, hey mum, I'd like to go out and go shopping, I said, yes babes, whatever you want, you will get, because I would like for you to change your clothes and to leave the house. I think it would be good for your mental health. So that's what we're doing. Indy hates shopping, so she's just going to hang with my mum. And I'm going to probably spend an hour in the bookstore and see what's out, what's new, and then reserve them all at my library, because I'm all about saving that money and also supporting libraries. The more books the libraries lend out, the more funding they get from your governments. So do support your local libraries, because you're also supporting your own bank account. I'm going to hit up Mecca, I'm going to sniff some stuff, and then probably eat some food. So I will leave you with the rest of my out and about adventures today. Until next time, stay witchy style, child. Okay, so change of plans. Unfortunately, V's friends just couldn't get their shit together today, and they've kept postponing, and it's now almost the evening and the shopping centre is closing in an hour anyway. So we decided, no, we're just going to go our own way. So we're going to go see Death by Unicorn and eat some food and go shopping. I'm dropping Indy off my mum's because that's not an appropriate movie for her. And yeah, that's the plan for today. Okay, so I got pistachio puppy, Nutella, chocolate chip cookie, halva, honey cashews, strawberries, that's Ben's one. And I also got matcha and salted butterscotch and mango and cinnamon banana. Different cover for that one. Cat stuff. More cat stuff. Feels so sweet. Do you want to see that? Wow. Us. Cinema 11. Timothy Chalamet. I guess, yeah, I'm about to eat Timothy Chalamet. Decent size.